So today, Dalvin Cook decided that he was going to be the next in a long line of running backs to hold out before their contract was up, while he's got 1 year left on his contract in an effort to get a new deal. Well, Dalvin Cook, I've got some news for you, man. That's a horrible, horrible decision to make. For starters, you're not worth that amount. You're not worth $13 million a year that you're asking for. No running back really is, but especially a guy who has only played in 29 games in his entire career out of a possible 48 games. So for starters, you're barely playing. You're only playing in about 60% of your career games. You're really not worth that much money. Secondly, $13 million is an astronomical amount for a running back. If you look at some running back holdouts, so there's been 3 really notable running back holdouts. So let's start with the Ezekiel Elliott one because this is probably the one that had the happiest ending for the player. Let's look at Ezekiel Elliott. He held out all of last training camp, and then he ended up signing a 6-year, $90 million contract with $50 million guaranteed. That is the Cinderella story. That is the best-case scenario that would happen. But I've got some spoiler alert news for Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook, you are not Ezekiel Elliott. You are not worth even remotely close to that amount of money. Ezekiel Elliott's a much better player. He doesn't have the injury issues that you have. So if you're Dalvin Cook, it ain't going to end up like this. What it will most likely end up as, it'll end up similar to Melvin Gordon, who the Vikings could offer Cook a modest extension now, probably around $10 million, $8 to $10 million. Maybe that's a fair price for Cook, probably somewhere in that range. Well, Gordon ended up losing about $2 million a year when he signed a 2-year, $16 million deal with the Broncos this offseason, instead of just taking a good deal from the Chargers the offseason prior. Gordon was coming off the best season in his career in 2018. He had a down 2019, and it cost him dearly. I think if you're Dalvin Cook, if you look at that case, you're more likely to end up like Melvin Gordon than anybody else. It's not going to have a happy ending for you. The other major holdout was LeVeon Bell. So LeVeon Bell, let's look at his situation, because again, I think if you're Dalvin Cook, it'll end up mostly like this. Le'Veon Bell held out in 2018, lost $14.5 million, and then proceeded to only sign a $13 million per year contract with the Jets with $27 million guaranteed. That, after this season, the Jets can virtually cut him for very little dead cap money. I believe it's $4 million in dead cap in 2021 and $2 million in dead cap in 2022 for the Jets to walk away from Bell. And you know what? The Jets are going to walk away from Bell this next offseason. So as you can see, if you're Dalvin Cook, it's not worth it. If you're Dalvin Cook, it's not smart. Just go to camp, work your tail off this year, and hope that if the Vikings don't give you a contract, that A, you either get franchise tagged, or B, you hit free agency and some other dumb team overpays you. There's always going to be one dumb team that's going to overpay a running back, but holding out is a horrible decision. If you don't play this year, you're going to forfeit millions of dollars. And then on top of that, no team is going to give you tens of millions of dollars next year. You'll probably get short prove-it deals because holding out doesn't work for running backs, and it is an absolutely poor decision by Dalvin Cook.